Hump Day! All right, what's up? We're live, everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts with Semantic Mastery. I'm Adam Moody, and I am pumped up for today because today is episode 221. Not only that, we got some great stuff coming, but real quick, want to go down the line here and say hello to everybody. And I'm going to mix it up this time because I realize we go in the same way every time. So randomly starting, Marco, how are you doing today? What's the weather like?
Ooh. It's a whole lot better than it is for you guys. I tell you that.
I take it you're not freezing to death,
for you,
Bradley.
Well, listen, it's 100-degree difference between what you guys, 100 to 120 between what you guys are going through and what I have here, because we're getting cold from you guys. It was only 75 today.
Oh, yeah. Tough. Awesome. Well, Bradley, let's bring you in for the opposing viewpoint here.
Well, it's not too bad right now, but it was fucking 9 o'clock or 9 degrees this morning, and tomorrow morning it'll be 3 degrees, and that's the air temperature, not the wind chill. So, but I know here in Virginia, it's not nearly as bad as it is in a lot of parts of the Midwest, man. Where I heard like Minneapolis is like negative 55 degrees or something.
Man, I'll pass on that. Yeah, wherever you guys are at, whoever's listening, pop on the page what the temperature was this morning. I'm curious. I know Wayne Clayton was saying it was going to be something crazy like, 40 below or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
Well, how about our man on the ground in the Southern Hemisphere? Hernan, how you doing?
Dude, yesterday, I think it was 115 Fahrenheit down here.
God, are you serious?
No, I'm serious. That's serious. But not only that, listen to this. It was 85% humidity. So it was like, it was like,
felt like 130.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Just like a blow dryer and someone's like throwing water at you.
Yeah, something like that. So it was nasty. It was disgusting. So don't come. If you guys are planning on coming here to Argentina, don't come in summer.
Oh my God, that's awful. Yeah. Well, we'll go from hot and humid to cold and more mountainous. Chris, how you doing?
Doing good. Like we only have 28 degrees here, so no need to stress. But like the good thing is, like, it doesn't matter how cold it is, doesn't matter if there's a tsunami or whatever, Hump Day is still happening,
Yeah, there we go.
That's the thing that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, we're going live from somewhere. Somehow it's going to happen every week. Well, speaking of, if you're new, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to us talk about the weather for a couple minutes. And, before we get into it, just want to say, again, thanks for watching and checking us out. You can always watch it live on the event pages. You can go to semanticmastery.com/HD questions. And you can also check out the replays on YouTube. I know we have a lot of subscribers who do it that way. And you can always go and ask your questions. And then if you're working, you got client calls, whatever, you can't make it, you can check out the answers afterwards. But being here has its benefits as we do some fun stuff from time to time. We have giveaways and all sorts of good stuff. Also, if you're wondering where to start with Semantic Mastery, head to battleplan.semanticmastery.com, grab the battle plan. And then if you're looking to take things up a notch, you're wanting to join a real mastermind group and you're wanting to start or grow your local digital marketing agency, then come join our mastermind. And that you can find out more at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Real quick, we have a couple more announcements I want to talk about, but I want to bounce this over to Marco because we sent out an email about some of the charity, or not some of the charities, but the charity we support and the one Marco's really helping to grow. And we're kind of facing a little bit of a countdown here. So Marco, do you want to explain?
Yeah, well, good and bad. The great thing is that the school year won't start until February 11th. So that gives us like this week to finish it. It should have been finished already, but we're able to extend it until Friday, since we can go next week and shop for all the supplies and the uniforms and the books and shoes and whatever the kids are going to need to get themselves through school for the year. Now, the bad part is that they start school late, right? But I mean, what can you do? So the deal is, which is also good news, is, and I mentioned it last week, the Rotary Club of Snoqualmie Valley, Washington, has been just so cool and so gracious and so kind, in that they're matching every donation that's $50 or above. And just this morning, by the way, we received a $500 donation from one of our mastermind members. I'm not going to say who, but you're awesome. You rock, because that's 5 kids. So it's $500, 500 from the Rotary Club, so it's $1,000.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's awesome, because that's 5 kids that go to school that wouldn't otherwise have had the ability to go. And so it's extended right now, guys. They're matching dollar for dollar, 50, anything above 50. If you donate 500, what happens is, since they donate 500, right, dollar for dollar, you get 2 hours with me. So you get a consultation. And anyone, as I've said before, if you can dig deep in your pockets, and you got that, and you can donate $5,000, what I'll do is I'll help you set up your local business, whatever it is that you want to do. We'll take it and we'll work it from the ground up. It will apply all of the methods that we've been teaching. I just met with our group last night, and they're all getting calls, right? And we're working now towards how do you monetize these calls that you're already getting. We talked about it. I want them to get even more assets and start pumping them up and start getting more calls. And so we have a few ways that we can monetize. The whole thing is, guys, whatever it is that we're doing in that mini mastermind group is what will apply to whatever it is that you want to do. And we'll get your business going, whether it's getting calls to your clients, whether it's getting your own leads, however it is that you want to set it up. Donate that $5,000, and I'll be more than happy to work it through from beginning to end. So that's how that works.
That's awesome. And Marco will put can you pop the link on the page so people can donate?
I'll pop it in there. And by the way, just so you know, we have $3,620 of donations that are 50 or more. So that's the $3,620 that the Snoqualmie Valley Rotary Club will be donating. So it becomes 6 something, right? So come on, guys. I need you. I need you. Kids need you. It's more kids that can go to school, more kids that can get an education. It's a worthwhile cause. You guys can even go to the gallery. I'll post the link to the gallery. I don't want to talk anymore. I don't want to take up more time because I want to answer questions. But guys, this is a great cause, and we need you. Go dig in your pockets. $50. Come on, 10 cups of coffee. $50. That's all it is.
Well, yeah, guys, if you could do that and push, I know would love to get that up to a total of 10,000. If we can get the matching from the Rotary Club, that would be amazing. So, and then thank you to everyone who's already donated. Any amount definitely helps these kids. And speaking of talking, I got a couple more, but these are good announcements for you guys. So I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Coming up this Monday, we've got Lisa Allen coming on, and we're going to be talking to her this Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern about the updates to RSS Authority Sniper. I know it's a tool that a lot of you know about, a lot of you use. And those of you who don't, regardless if you use it or not, you're going to want to find out about her updates, which is a good reason to check that out, because she's got some GPS targeting stuff she's doing that we're going to dive into, and she's going to show us how she's been using that, along with just going over how obviously RSS Authority Sniper can be used kind of for maximum effectiveness. So
yeah, I'm going to just to chime in on that for a minute. I haven't had a chance to go through any of it yet. I'm planning on scheduling some time on Friday for that to prepare for Monday. And I can tell you guys, the RSS Authority Sniper, that was like a tool to help find RSS feeds relevant to whatever topic you're looking for content for. And that's been updated too. So it's probably better. I didn't really use the RSS Authority Sniper much. I would go manually search or have a VA manually search for RSS feeds. I found that typically I was able to find better results for what I was looking for if we just manually searched. However, the add-on service is called Rank Feeder, and it's a monthly subscription, but that's the tool that she created to create feeds. It's like a feed splicer, and it does all these really, really cool things. And that is super, super powerful. And it was powerful 2 years ago when it might have even been 2.5, 3 years ago now, but when she first launched it, because it creates co-citation, which is like link building without links. It's very, very, very powerful. It's a way to associate a web page with authority content. through co-citation, and it's very powerful. And you could splice feeds and insert specific URLs into an RSS feed and make them sticky so that they were always present in the feed, so that as dynamic RSS feeds would update with their content, there would always be those specific items that you wanted, you know, like web pages or URLs that you wanted to associate with that authority content. So the feed would update dynamically, right? But those sticky items would stay there. So they were constantly being associated with authority content that, you know, authority content sources were publishing. It's not something we had to do. We just had to go find the feeds. So anyways, very, very powerful. And whatever she's got cooked up into it now is specifically for local. It's adding GPS targeting options and such to it. And again, I haven't been through it yet, but guys, that's primarily like 99% of what we're doing is local. So I expect it to be very, very powerful, because it was powerful before. So I'm going to go in and dig into that on Friday a bit, guys, so that I can prepare for the webinar on Monday. However, that said, one other thing real quick is I'm doing an off-page SEO test for GMB assets, and I'm testing several different methods. It started with 6, and now I'm at 8 different methods that I'm testing in isolation. Hers is going to be one of them for using Rank Feeder and the GPS, you know, targeting or whatever that she built into it. So that's all being revealed in the mastermind as I have data roll in from those like tests and case studies and such. So again, when I have more data for that, I'll be sharing that in the mastermind as well.
Outstanding. Yeah, get signed up, you guys. Check out that webinar. We had a someone who shall remain unnamed but might be owner of a press release company distribution service, asking about some ideas for integrating his company with using this stuff. So
yep.
Anyone can use this stuff, whether you're doing this for clients, doing it for yourself, doing it for your own freaking business. This is good stuff. So definitely want to be there. Bradley, you, speaking of the mastermind, this is the last announcement, you guys, but we want to make sure you have a chance to do this. Bradley, you did a webinar on, was it Thursday, with the Google Ads?
Yeah, we just announced it on Wednesday last week, so a week ago today. It was just very short notice, but I developed it's a method I've been using for years, but for ranking YouTube videos, local YouTube videos for like lead generation or for clients, and that's setting up YouTube ads or Google ads for YouTube to drive traffic. Very, very relevant and geo-targeted traffic. So, and it works like crazy. It is by far the #1 ranking factor that I found for ranking videos. I mean, I've got videos that are ranking on page 1 for keywords that I've done no backlink building to or anything other than just set up YouTube campaigns for. And it's funny, but and I talked about this in the webinar last week, but and I showed the live example too. There was another video that I did for the video production company that I provide wholesale SEO services to. And for whatever reason, I was limited on time the day that I set up that campaign, which essentially all I do is take the video that they create for their client, they send it to me, and then I upload or I stream it through OBS to my YouTube channel that's connected to a bunch of syndication networks. And that's, you know, that's always the first step in ranking a video. But typically I wait, usually right after uploading or live streaming to my channel, and it's, it syndicates through all the networks. I usually set up a Google ad for that immediately. And I just use $1 a day budget, guys. So it costs $30, and it's really only $30 it's $1 a day for like the first 2 weeks, because then I actually start backing my daily budget down to where I even get it down to 50 cents per day. So it's $15 per month. And what happens is, those views come in from geo-targeted traffic and from a relevant audience. If you can find the correct audience, which it's very broad now. There's a lot of categories, so it's likely you can find a relevant audience. And that's very highly weighted views. In other words, those views are weighted by Google a lot higher than views from, if it's a Virginia business, from a view in California from somebody that's not interested in, windshield repair or whatever the hell that it may be. So my point is, I usually set up the ad right after syndicating the video through my networks, but I didn't have time the day that I did this. And this was 3 weeks ago now. And so 2 weeks went by, and I went to go check on the video, and it was on page 2, and it was bouncing. And I looked at my pro rank tracker report for it, and it had stayed, once it had done its initial Google dance, it had stayed on page 2, and it was bouncing between 12 and 15, position 12 and 15, but it never got on page 1 within those 2 weeks. So on Thursday, 2 weeks ago now, I set up the YouTube ad or the Google ad for YouTube with $1 a day budget. And on Monday, so 3 days later, essentially, because it takes about 24 hours to get approved, but 3 days later, it was on page 1. And it's been on page 1 ever since, guys. And again, that just has to do with those Google ads. So long story short, I did a webinar, it's a 2.5-hour webinar last week, where I show over-the-shoulder training, how to go in and set up these ads, how to find your relevant audiences, how to do geo-targeting, all that, and set that up. And then I also showed how to do a branding campaign and use remarketing for that, which is very, very powerful for client work and for lead gen assets, because YouTube traffic is so inexpensive, guys, but it works. And I also shared some tips about how to use that for kind of boosting Google My Business profiles. I'm certainly not going to reveal that here, but $50, guys, or $55 now because of the replay to get access to that webinar that otherwise you'd have to pay $300 to get to be a member of the mastermind to get. And the only reason why I opened it up for everybody is because we talk about it a lot here on Hump Day Hangouts, and I wanted to make sure that I've always talked about it conceptually, but never actually showed people how to do it. And I felt like it was time. So if you're interested in that, guys, it's only $55. I think this is going to be the last time we announce this. So take advantage of it while you can.
Awesome. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, you guys all ready? I'm going to grab the screen. Here we go. By the way, the +1 button stopped working. Nothing, but have you guys gotten the notice via email yet that Google Plus is terminating all their APIs and everything too? Just so you know, Google Plus is I'm pretty sure it's going to be 100% completely removed from all Google products in 2019. I know their APIs are being killed. Some of them have already started to fail, but they just sent out notification of that, which is, finally. I remember when Google Plus was launched, there were, social media pundits that were predicting the demise of it, like right off the bat. Google Plus is dead, it was dying. And here it is, like essentially 10 years later, and it's still around, but they are finally killing it. So I just thought that was interesting. Justin says, is there any way to sort my applets in IFTTT? There are all just kind of lumped together in my applets page. I've looked at IFTTT support FAQ pages and couldn't find anything and don't seem to get any access or response to any real person from them. So I figured I'd try here. I love that it's free, of course, but would gladly pay them for an easier to manage system. Well, you might want to contact their, as far as I remember, I haven't contacted IFTTT support in at least 4 years. No kidding. But the last time that I did, or every time that I had contacted support, when I had contacted support, was always via Twitter. And I'm not even a Twitter user. So, that was kind of a pain in the ass. But you may want to try contacting them there. I don't know if it's changed since then, but they do have paid options, Justin. So I would contact them and ask them if, or look at their paid options and see if that's a feature that is available with paid option. I have not paid IFTTT a dime since its inception, since I discovered it. And I don't really plan on it, but that might be something if you're a heavy user of it, where you've got, many applets, then yeah, I would suggest contacting their support. I don't know if they have options for that stuff or not. Okay. Typically our networks are, we have an IFTTT account per syndication network. And so usually there's not more than between 15 to 25 applets in an account. But if you are using it for multiple stuff, you might have way, way more than that. So Sean says, can you go over GMB basics? I'm interested in getting started with one local GMB to see how it's done. So I think I could start with MGYB for getting it verified, right? But after that, what should I do? I know there's no courses on this, but I'd like to start with the basics and test the water to see how it's done before moving forward. Okay, well, Sean, yes. GMB basics, yeah. What I can tell you is, yes, first of all, MGYB, you can go get a GMB verification there, which is what I recommend, guys. Otherwise, you can do it manually, but it takes a lot of time, and your time is better spent developing the creatives and all that stuff, the keyword research and all that for whatever project you're about to pursue, right? So what I would suggest is going to MGYB.co, ordering a done-for-you GMB verification. You'll get it back in a few weeks, and while you're waiting for it to be delivered to you, you can start developing your creatives and doing your, your getting the content together, your keyword research, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's what I would recommend. And yes, there is a course for that. We've got actually several courses, starting with LocalPRPro, that teaches exactly how to first of all, research locations to find where the easiest opportunity is, or at least where there is opportunity to snipe or get into the maps 3-pack with as little work as possible. Some assets are going to take you more, or attempts are going to make you or take you more work than others, guys. There's just no question about that. Now that I'm way over, you know, I think we're approaching close to 60 GMB assets now, and I can tell you my percentage rate of getting into the 3-pack with little to no work has gone way down, because I'm targeting many more locations now within a particular cluster. Anyways, Sean, not to confuse you, go check out LocalPRPro if you want. That's a great starting point. We have an advanced training for more competitive GMB assets. It's called Local GMBPro. That's really the logical upgrade from LocalPRPro. Okay. And then we have LocalPRPro, which is really about how to push maps or GMB assets into the maps pack using press releases. So the three of those complement each other incredibly well. And then finally, like the Mac Daddy of all, when you really need the additional push, when you absolutely got to kill every motherfucker in the room. Excuse me, that was a Samuel L. Jackson reference from Jackie Brown. Anyways, when you absolutely have to push it, RYS Academy Reloaded is our final course for that kind of stuff. But
the AK-47 of
I'm sorry?
It's
the AK-47 reference?
Yeah.
Yeah. AK-47. I'm going to have to pull that clip up. Anyways, Sean, but good news for you is we've got Battle Plan. Our Battle Plan version 3.0 is coming out next month. We're launching that next month. And that really is like the user's guide for how to get results. And this year, our version 3 is going to have a lot of stuff in there, or a section dedicated specifically to GMB assets, since we're all really pushing on that right now. So that's going to be probably your best bet if you want to kind of ease into this thing, is just kind of start or wait for the Battle Plan to come out. And then if you, you know, LocalPRPro and the Battle Plan together are really the starting points for any type of GMB asset business. Does anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, I just want to comment on one thing, because you mentioned the success rate of getting them into the 3-pack or whatever. A lot of times you start getting calls and you don't even know where it is that they're coming from. They might be verified, and they'll start working on them, right? So it's already there, the phone number is there, and you start getting calls, and you don't, how in the world are you getting calls when it's barely verified? So success rate and the calls that you get and everything else is relative. And what I would like to add is you did a 15 with an 80% success rate, and now we're doing hundreds. We'll end up with thousands. I'd rather have 50-60% of 1,000 than 80% of 15 any day of the week.
Right on, Greg. AK-47. If anybody wants to watch this clip, that shit's funny. I hope that's the right one. Anyways, I'm gonna keep moving, but that's funny. We actually, when we first launched link building services after what used to be called IFTTT SEO Academy, now it's Syndication Academy. Daddy, our link building manager, he was, you know, he builds links to networks, and we had set up a ClickFunnels landing page for that, and I had created a video where I spliced that clip in. It was awesome. I love it. I got to pull that up somewhere, that video. That was funny. Pete, what's up, Pete? He's in the mastermind. He says, hey, guys, my client is a service area business and wants to expand into nearby locations, and they want their own GMB listings branded in their business name. My questions are, would you use the business name on every GMB listing? I only ask because I've seen some franchise companies use brand name with local modifier at the end for each location, and then use a virtual telephone number with different address. Yes, Pete. Well, first of all, I wouldn't append the location to the name. Because if it's for a brand, that's kind of a spam signal in my opinion. So if it's for a brand, I would just use the brand name. Okay. But you want a unique physical location when you verify the GMB, which if you're doing it yourself, you're going to have to get your own separate unique addresses for each location, right? If you're ordering it from us, don't worry about it. They'll be unique when we order them, or when we verify them, excuse me. But you're going to want a unique physical location, physical address, excuse me, a unique phone number, and a unique landing page or website URL, right? So remember, if you're building this for a brand, and if the company says, well, I want you to just put our homepage URL as the website for all of the listings, don't do that. Don't do that, especially if they're maps expansions, right? Maps expansion listings. In other words, if they don't physically have a real office in the location that you're setting up a maps listing, then do not link directly from the GMB to their website. Don't do it, okay? Because that could create a problem down the road because you don't actually have a physical location in that area, right? So what I would recommend at that point is just use the GMB website, and at which point you can link to from within the content of the GMB website to the corporate website if you'd like. But I wouldn't link to it from the GMB listing. In other words, from like the website or the appointment URL or any of that. I would not do that. If you are adamant, or the client is adamant about linking to their site, then I would recommend that you create landing pages on subdomains of the root domain and use the subdomain URL that's unique to each location as the website URL. Because subdomains aren't the same as a root domain or a inner page of a root domain, in that it's less of a footprint. I mean, it's still a footprint. They're all connecting back to the same domain, but the difference is if you catch a penalty on the root domain or any of its inner pages, it's going to apply the penalty to domain wide, including all subdomains if there are any, right? So it can actually hurt the entire domain. But if you catch a penalty on any one of the subdomain sites, or pages in this case, I mean, you can install WordPress if you'd like, but I would just create an HTML landing page, a nice one that's, set up for conversions, like a lead capture, all that kind of stuff. And I would just install them on subdomains, duplicate those pages, just change the, NAP info on those pages. You could just duplicate them. It'd be really, really easy to do. If you got something like ClickFunnels, you can build a landing page in ClickFunnels and then export it as an HTML file and upload those, or just direct subdomains to a ClickFunnels page. My point is, there's a million ways to do it, but I would have a subdomain landing page as opposed to an inner page, because that way it would reduce potential penalties against the entire domain. If a subdomain page or site were to get slapped, it would only affect that subdomain, not the root or any of the other sibling subdomains. Does that make sense? So absolutely make sure all three, the name can be the same, but the other three data points, address, phone number, and URL, should all be unique. Okay. What would you recommend the best way to link to GMBs back to the central business website, for example, with service area pages or just a page? Again, just like I mentioned, I would not link directly to the main website, other than perhaps in a contextual link from within the GMB website. And you can also link to it from GMB posts once the GMB assets are set up. But I would not link to them directly from like the info tab in GMB to the website unless you're doing it on subdomains, each subdomain being unique to that particular location. It's a good question. It's not letting me +1 though, damn it. Oh, there, that time it worked. Michael, what's up? Michael says, hey guys, I have a GMB related question. I was uploading photos to GMB site, strip out the geo data and EXIF data. I recently uploaded photos to GMB site and it stripped the titles and renamed them untitled. Why did it do that? Got me wondering if it strips the title. What about the rest? No, I mean, it might strip it, but when you upload it, Google reads it, right? So it's present when you upload it, and that's all that matters. Because when you upload the file, Google sees all that data. That's what matters. In fact, I kind of like the fact that they are stripping it out, because that way, if somebody comes and tries, some other SEO tries to analyze images, they're not going to see all that stuff, right? Of course, if they knew what they were doing, they know what to look for anyways. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it matters. Marco, what do you say?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. They have it. They have the info. They know, especially if you're doing it locally. I mean, the phone is the tell in this. And if you're doing it through what we teach in local GMBPro, then Google has the information, and that's all you care about. As to why Google stripped out your title, it's probably a glitch. We can't answer why Google does the shit that it does, because everything is in GMB, right? In Google My Business is in a state of constant flux. It's very fluid. They're constantly changing, adding. They're constantly giving us stuff to play with. And so, we had a problem the other day where some images weren't showing. right? Or they were showing differently, or they weren't showing the way they were supposed to. Why? We don't know. They were changing something, and it happened. Glitches. It happens on the web. So sorry, we can't answer as to why, but what we can tell you is that the shit works, because what you're creating is your entity's relationship to the location. Whatever your location is, whatever your local is, you're giving Google that relationship, and that's all you care about. Whether it stays or not is irrelevant.
Yep. All right, Jason's up. Jason says, working with a local contractor who has another host. His site is built on ClickFunnels, and he has no native RSS feed. Without tipping the other host to a potential takeover of the site, the client doesn't want to ask the current host to add an RSS function. I get it. So I have some spare syndication networks in MGYB.co, and I'm looking to use one for his property and thinking of using WordPress.com Web 2.0 as the syndication point or trigger point. Any real issues with that before I press submit? No, that's fine, Jason. Absolutely. Anything with an RSS feed you can use to trigger. In fact, it doesn't even have to have an RSS feed. For example, you could connect WordPress as the trigger source instead of, so if this, click WordPress, then post to, Blogger, Tumblr, Twitter, whatever the case may be. So you can have WordPress actually connect via API as opposed to RSS. Like, in other words, IFTTT can connect to WordPress API, and then it will trigger whenever you publish to WordPress.com. Does that make sense? Or you can do it via RSS. In fact, you may want to test those. I remember years ago when I was developing the whole syndication network strategy, I tested that, and there was some funky stuff that would happen when you would use the native app as the trigger point as opposed to the RSS feed from the app. In other words, if I was to use WordPress as trigger or Blogger as trigger or Tumblr as trigger, as opposed to using the RSS feeds, sometimes it would cause some funky stuff to happen. So that was years ago. I know, because RSS just always worked. So that's why I just finally said, I quit testing that shit and said, RSS works, let's just use that. Don't fix it if it ain't broke, right? So my point is, you may want to test that. But also, Jason, think about this. We're doing that, and I'm pretty sure that you have Rank Feeder, Jason. So you may want to think about just taking their ClickFunnels page, creating a Rank Feeder feed, which is what we're going to be talking about on Monday, guys, with Lisa Allen, and then use other authority content feeds to create that co-citation, and feed your network that way, right? I mean, you could do that, because especially if you have a sticky item in that feed, you could be using that to constantly co-citation whatever your sticky item is. In this case, maybe the ClickFunnels page, right? So, I mean, that's just a thought. You might want to think about using that too. But yes, you can use WordPress or Tumblr or Blogger or anything with an RSS feed. I like to use any type of blog account, obviously, because, you got more like WYSIWYG editors, and you can edit the elements of the page and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Plus, there's probably RSS feed creators online other than Rank Feeder that will allow you to create feeds from HTML pages and that kind of stuff. I know there used to be services like that, so I can't imagine that they don't have those still. All right, he says on the next one, hopefully not asking too much for the free form, but for ad ID, if I have multi-site property and I want to add it to the ad ID page with geo-relevance, could I search Google Maps for brand geo modifier and put multiple locations in the page that way? Yeah, Jason, that's more of a mastermind question anyways. Honestly, I really don't want to answer that here. That's getting a little bit too far into the weeds. What I would suggest, though, is that you go into Mastermind archives and take a look at where I've talked or just create a post in the Facebook group, and I'll share it in that group with you about how to do organization markup. You can do that with an ad ID page, guys. It's perfectly fine. You can set up like an HTML page and create organization markup, which is the way that I do it for multi-location businesses, is a combination of JSON LD and microdata, as well as just flat out HTML. And so that would work perfect for an HTML page or an ad ID page, like hosted on an Amazon S3 bucket, right? And that's a combination of JSON LD, organization markup, local business markup for each individual location, plus just HTML, where you can embed the map, NAP, that kind of stuff. So again, post in the Facebook group, the Mastermind Facebook group, about that, Jason. We can start a discussion in there, and I can point you to the training that I've already covered, Mastermind webinars for that, okay? I'm going to keep on moving. Hey, guys. He's back again with some more YouTube questions. It's awesome. He's here every week. So my income, I know I'm probably mispronouncing your name. I apologize for that, but glad to have you back. says, hey guys, I'm with another set of questions. And as Bradley said in the last Hangout, I plan to use all this free information you guys are giving to build up my business so that I can join the mastermind then. Everybody +1 is commenting for me. Question, is crowdsearch.me still effective for ranking YouTube videos, local, national sites? For YouTube, I don't know if it is or not. To be honest, I wouldn't use it for money site stuff anymore at all, guys. I stopped using it, a year and a half ago now, maybe. YouTube videos, I doubt it will even move the needle on that anymore, Mayank. And the reason I say that is because a lot of those services, they use commercial IPs, right? Commercial proxies. And the problem is so many commercial IP blocks now, ranges, what do they call them? Subnets or whatever, have been blocked or marked by Google, flagged as irrelevant traffic, right? And that killed a lot of those search and click or CT spam, what I call CT or click-through spam, spam bots, right? That killed a lot of their effectiveness because the IP blocks have been, Google understands that they're commercial IP blocks, right? Like, for example, storm proxies, right? So you have a range of proxies or IPs that they go through, and that Google is aware of what they are. So they're disregarded as real traffic or given less weight. Does that make sense? So again, I just talked about at the very beginning of this webinar how I did a training, a 2.5-hour training last week, specifically on how to use Google Ads, guys, for pennies per view from real traffic. You're buying traffic from Google. Okay. And literally you can use YouTube traffic to rank videos, especially because you're getting views. You don't get a flood of clicks unless the video is really compelling or the offer is really compelling. I find that the type of campaigns that I set up in the webinar last week, which you can get access to for $55, guys, I'm telling you, it's a slam dunk. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. It's a great strategy, guys. And you can get targeted traffic from Google to your videos, targeted views anyways, right? To your videos from specific geographic areas that you set, from specific audiences that you set, which is the recommended method. And those views are weighted heavily because they're coming from real Google users, guys, from people that are signed in to their Google accounts, have Android devices or whatever, or whether it doesn't matter whether it's Apple or Android, but they've got Google accounts, right? Google knows these people. They're valid, true Google users. Instead of trying to spoof traffic, you can buy real traffic, guys, and it's literally pennies per view, right? Now, again, I don't get a flood of clicks. So using that strategy for driving traffic isn't necessarily going to get you a flood of traffic, but it will get you a bunch of views, which is great for the video itself. And the traffic that you do get is going to be really heavily weighted traffic because it's highly relevant, if that makes sense. So it's much more valuable than buying spam traffic anyways. And it's not against Google's terms of service, right? Spam traffic is. So as far as using crowdsearch.me or any type of spam bot, I wouldn't recommend it because it just isn't, especially to money sites, guys. I wouldn't put that stuff anywhere near a money site. YouTube videos, you could test it, but I'm telling you, I don't feel like that's effective anymore because, again, I just buy the traffic direct from Google now, and it works so much better, right? And guys, it's so easy to set up a campaign. I mean, I'm telling you, once you get the hang of it, you can set up a YouTube ads campaign for a video in like 10 minutes flat. Okay.
He can also, before you go, he can also get an embed gig, video embeds, which will move the needle. I don't know, because CrowdSearch, I stopped using them a while ago. But video embeds in a niche relevant network. And since we're moving, I don't know if we didn't announce it, we're moving MGYB into WooCommerce so that it makes it easier to add products. So this week and next week, we'll be busy adding products. One of those will be video embeds. We'll be adding data as link building, indexing, just a whole bunch of things that we haven't been able to do because of the limitations that we had with SamCart. We'll be able to do now. So I think you might want to look into a video embed gig. They're not really all that expensive, and they do move the needle. Or just get our training and get it moved the right way with the right signals.
Yep. Okay, so the only thing I would suggest, though, is, guys, you got to think about this logically. Just flat out embeds and or backlinks do not work as well as they used to without traffic included. And think about it, guys. It's very logical. Why would a video or anything go like, why would a video get hundreds or thousands of embeds or tens of thousands of backlinks if it's not being viewed, right? It doesn't make sense. So yes, it can move the needle, but like I found that we know for a fact that we can rank videos with engagement signals alone, guys. No backlinks, no embeds whatsoever. If you combine the two, it's so much more effective. But it's less effective to just do a bunch of backlinks and or embeds without engagement signals, because that is clearly a spam signal, right? That's clearly somebody trying to manipulate search position of a video, right? Because it's not natural for a video to be embedded, picked up and shared if it's not getting viewed. Who embeds a video without viewing it, right? Only SEOs. And Google knows that. The algorithm knows that. It's not like manual reviewers. That's baked right into the algorithm now. So my point is, if you're going to do embed blast, guys, that's perfectly fine. Backlinks are perfectly fine. But make sure that you're adding traffic to the whole mix, views, in other words, to the whole mix, because that's going to increase your effectiveness so much more. If you start getting a bunch of embeds and or backlinks and a bunch of views all at the same time, that's mimicking a viral nature of a video, and that shit will rank, no question, right? But if you just do a bunch of backlinks and or embeds and there's not any views and engagement signals, that's clearly a spam signal. I wouldn't recommend doing it. Yes, I know there's some brute force SEOs out there that still do that, guys, but I don't recommend it for longevity and everything else. Just set up some simple YouTube ads for pennies per view and get the results that you need. Okay. Would you also appreciate, or would also appreciate, if you could give a brief overview of how GMBPro, LocalPRPro, and LocalPRPro compare against each other? Well, I mentioned that earlier in the webinar, but just so you know, he says, I'm completely new to local marketing. So if I want to get started, which way would you recommend? LocalPRPro right now, hands down. That's the starter course in my opinion, because that's going to show you how to. The tip of the iceberg or tip of the spear is the location research, and we go into that extensively. And we did an update webinar about a month ago now that's in the training course and the updates module, where I go into much more granular detail on how to do location research. So LocalPRPro is the best starting point, Mayank, and then from there, the upgrade would be local GMBPro, and that's only for like assets that need the additional push, or if you're in a really competitive market, that kind of stuff. And then LocalPRPro is something that we just kind of add into the mix throughout that whole process. And that's just strategy for using press releases and PR stacking for getting results with local maps listings. Okay. Is the rank and rent websites model still effective? Yes, but here's the thing. Don't build websites. Just build GMB websites. They're free. You don't need hosting. You don't need to go through all the SEO bullshit. Just set up GMB assets, use the GMB website, and you're off to the races. Okay, guys, I make jokes about this all the time, but I'm half serious too, more than half serious. I hope to God I never have to build another WordPress site. I mean, I know that's not going to happen, but for all the stuff I'm doing now, guys, I'm trying to avoid building WordPress websites as much as possible, because we don't need them. We're able to get results without them now. So that may change, but for now, it's a nice break. W says, hey there, got a question. Would it work if I post my regular blog posts from all 5 websites that are in the same niche as duplicate content to a network of 100 Web 2.0 sites? The 100 Web 2.0s have a ton of healthy backlinks, just like IFTTT. Greetings. Yeah, but just make sure that you're posting an attribution link, right? Just make sure you're citing the source, because that's how you do it without, I mean, you can post it without an attribution link if you'd like. I wouldn't recommend it, guys. It's not duplicate content because it's on different websites, right? It's only duplicate content when it's on the same domain. So, but what I would recommend is that if you're going to republish, that you would cite the source, just like we teach in Syndication Network, or Syndication Academy, which is where you would say, like this post or this, this article or whatever was published first on, and then you link to that and the source where it was published, which would be your money site anyways. That's what you want. That's the backlink back to your money site, right? Through the attribution link. So that's what I would do. But yes, you can do that. Okay. By the way, I would recommend that here's the catcher on that though, guys. If you're doing this across branded properties, then that's natural. But if you're taking the same content and republishing it across hundreds of Web 2.0s that are not branded, then that's clearly for SEO manipulation. And that's a footprint that you're leaving. So I wouldn't recommend it unless you have branded profiles. Does that make sense? Or unless you use 100 Web 2.0s, if you've got a lot of other content being pushed into those Web 2.0s on a regular basis, like from other RSS feeds or other content sources, to where you're kind of burying your article among many, many others that are relevant, then that's okay too. It's still a footprint though, but it's a lot less of one than just like if you just have, you know, say you got 300 Web 2.0s out there, and all of a sudden you push the same article to all 300 and there's no other content coming behind them. In other words, then that's going to look really, that's a big footprint, in other words. So I would recommend that you don't do that unless you have, you know, other content sources that are feeding those Web 2.0s so that they're, it's not such a big, you know, blatant footprint. Okay. But yeah, you can do that. Because here's the thing, guys, you can't prevent other people from scraping your, you know, taking your RSS feed, for example, and using it to populate their auto blogs. You know what I mean? So my point is, it's okay to do it. You know, somebody can come scrape your RSS feed right now and have it feeding one of their syndication networks because you have relevant content to whatever they're trying to promote. And so you have no control over that. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, again, I would just mention, if you go out and just all your Web 2s don't have content being published to them regularly, and all of a sudden they all get a post and it's all the same post, that's clearly what, you know, what you're doing. But if you have content constantly updating those networks or those Web 2s, excuse me, on a regular basis, and you just inject one of your posts or articles into that stream of content, then that's not nearly as big of a footprint. Does that make sense? Okay. It's a lot more natural looking anyways. Okay. Dennis is up. He says, hey guys, if you're using PRs and the company has many GMBs, is it okay to duplicate the content, changing only the geo and NAP for each PR? No, Dennis. It's likely that the distribution networks will not publish. Okay, so again, reword them. If you've got, here's something you could do: take the PR, your original, and just hire one of the content farms for rewriting services. NatashaNixon.com. That's one of the ones that I use. I need articles.com. I think that's another one. Just hire the rewrite service. It's a lot cheaper than having an original article written or original press release written. It's just a rewrite. It's a lot cheaper. So take that PR and have it rewritten as many times as you need. But don't just use the same one. It's likely going to be rejected by the distribution network. Okay. Ivan, long time. Hi, Ivan. Long time, buddy. No doubt. He says, posting a question here, but still watching live or replays every week. 2 questions for you. Do you know a resource that will help me generate Q&A schema markup? Schema.pro. SKEEMA.PRO. That's Ryan Rodden. I'm pretty sure he can do it for you. Jeffrey Smith's Ultimate SEO Plus version 2 or 2.0 plugin will do that when it's launched, as far as I'm aware. But that's not launched yet, although I know it's in beta right now. So it's very likely going to be coming out in the next few weeks. And that's a WordPress plugin that will do all that kind of markup for you. So, but schema.pro, again, Ryan Rodden, I know he does a lot of schema markup or structured data stuff for people. Like he's got a little side business where he just generates code for people. So he can help you with that. Number 2, is there an IFTTT recipe or applet that automatically transfers GMB posts to a Google Sheet? That's a good question. I don't know if there's a syndicate or an IFTTT applet. I don't think it integrates with GMB directly. IFTTT does, I don't think. But if you're using our GMB auto poster or briefcase, then you can get an RSS feed from GMB posts, which then you can use then RSS to Google Sheets applet in IFTTT, if that makes sense. So in other words, you have to check IFTTT. Click on the services menu. I can't believe I haven't checked yet. That's funny. I'm going to go check now. But to see if it integrates with GMB, I doubt that it does. And so if it doesn't, which again, it's likely that it doesn't, then if you're using our auto poster or GMB briefcase, you can get an RSS feed, which is working now, by the way, guys. I'm still working with Shripad, our developer, to work out some additional, bugs and stuff, but it's working now. I've been testing it. So you can get an RSS feed from your GMB posts and then use that to trigger an IFTTT applet to push your, posts into a Google Sheet or wherever you want, really. Okay. It's a good question, though. Glad to have you back, Ivan. Walt says, wind chills for wimps. Okay, -40, Wayne. I feel you for you, buddy. -52 wind chill. Wow, Jim. Ouch. Okay, are we almost out of questions? It looks like it. Looks like all of you guys are real chatty. Is there any way to claim unverified GMBs? I don't know. I tried a method that was revealed to me during the POFU Live event, and I tried it like, I don't know, 8 or 10 times, and I couldn't get it to work. So, and I think that the way that I was told got killed anyways. So I don't know. And I certainly wouldn't reveal it here on a free Hump Day Hangout if that was the case. sorry, but that's that would definitely be inside information if I did know. Fred says, Marco, could this work for an online service-based company selling similar to Geico free car insurance quotes online? The online service we offer is similar to Geico, but in a different industry, and we would like to rank in different states using your training. I'm trying to wrap my head around how my team could use the Semantic Mastery courses to accomplish something like that. Fred, if it's a question specifically of something like that that may be a little bit more complex, I would recommend just hitting us up at support. And it'll get routed to the appropriate person, either Marco or me or whatever, where we can guide you. And, you know, we obviously need more details than just this very brief, vague description of what it is you're trying to do in order for us to point you in the right direction. So just contact support@semanticmastery.com and we'll figure something out. Marco, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, just on a higher level, you can't wrap your head around it because you're confining your local, and you're mixing up your local and your national. And as I've said before, and I've said it plenty of times, your local is just a matter of how you view it, and how you take it down is just the way that you set up your entity. Your entity has to be related to whatever it is that you're doing. In our case, it's related locally. In your case, it all has to be done a different way. Look at what your competition is doing. You know, I always tell people you have to become a master mimic. So that's a place where you can start. If you want a deeper answer than that, as Bradley said, just support@semanticmastery.com. Ask to talk to me, and we'll see what we can do.
There you go. Awesome. Sam Jackson, that's so funny. Okay. Good days, guys, and thank you very much for this forum. If on a branded network, WordPress.com was closed, should we create another with a persona account and brand it? Yeah, you can do that. Here's the thing. If you got a recovery email for that account anyways, just do that. Like, for example, when we set up syndication networks, if you guys purchase them from us, when we deliver them, you got the main Google account, and then there's always a recovery email account. It's typically Outlook or Yahoo. And so whenever an account gets terminated, like WordPress.com in this example, it was probably created with the Gmail account, right? Because that's what our VAs do. That's what we trained our builders to do. So you still have the recovery email account from that same syndication network that you could go set up another WordPress.com account under that recovery email account, if that makes sense, and then just brand it again. Your username, which becomes the subdomain, is going to have to be changed slightly, obviously, because the other one's not going to be available for the terminated account. But yes, you can do that. Okay. Or just go, if you have to, just create another, email account and set it up that way. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. It happens, guys. Accounts get terminated from time to time. There's nothing you can do about it. Just replace them. Not a big deal. What would be the benefit of GMB RSS to Google Sheets? I don't know. I don't know what his point was for asking that question. However, I know that we have done some testing in the past with auto feeding into a G Sheet and then making the G Sheet public and hammering it with links. So kind of like an RYS type thing. So that's something that you could potentially do, right? Is anyone still using RSS Master software from Damon? I am not. Actually, I'm not. I haven't even been using Rank Feeder, but I'm looking forward to testing on Friday with the new GPS features to see how we can incorporate that into our local strategy, as well as the press release stuff, because of the fact that I think there's an opportunity there to squeeze that into some press release stacking stuff too. So, but as far as RSS Master, that was good. I really like that because that was like a feed splicer that you could add HTML elements to the actual feed itself and add links and things like that, which was pretty powerful. It was more, I thought of RSS Master more as a marketing tool than an SEO tool. And I said that before because people used to ask, like, what's the difference between RSS Smasher and Rank Feeder? And I used to say RSS Smasher is more like a marketing tool. It's good for creating like very nice looking RSS feeds that you can use for content syndication. So it's great for like splicing authority feeds and to feed like second tier syndication networks for blog syndication and that kind of stuff, Greg. But as far as for pure SEO power, Rank Feeder killed it hands down. It was hands down the better product for just SEO. It didn't create, and again, I haven't looked at it since she's developed the GPS stuff, but it didn't create like a real pretty visual feed like RSS Smasher did, but it created a very powerful SEO feed. And so again, it was two different things. People would say, well, which one should I get? Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. In fact, it may be many cases where you need both, right? But again, purely for SEO purposes, Rank Feeder was so much better, in my opinion, than RSS Smasher, but RSS Smasher was better as a marketing tool and a content syndication tool, if that makes sense. Okay. Ivan is saying that's it for what? What was the reference? Okay, I think that's it. All right, guys, it looks like we're actually done just a minute early, or 4 minutes early, really. I'm going to leave you with this since it's a Sam Jackson kind of day. This is our link shortener. Oops, I'm not supposed to be in there. Let's go back to the main page. There you go. Sam Jackson, keep scrolling, motherfucker. All right, any parting words, guys?
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it.
See y'all next week.